The Valley of Mines is a large valley located in the south end of the island of Corinus. Besides being a primary location in Gothic 1 and a secondary location in Gothic 2, it was always a place of great significance and deep history that goes all the way even before Gothic 1 took place. The Valley of Mines, or the colony as many people call it, was a place where King Robar II got the majority of ore needed to create weapons and armor that will be used in the war against the Orcs. Using criminals and convicts as slaves, King Robar got the necessary ore, but it was not enough. Orcs were getting stronger with each passing day, and the extraction of the ore needed to be increased. Therefore, every criminal that was sentenced, no matter the crime, became a slave in the colony and was forced to mine the ore. With more and more convicts being imported to the valley, King needed a way to keep them from escaping, so he called the most powerful mages in the kingdom, and 13 of them came. King Robar II decided to create a small barrier around the mines to keep the slaves trapped, so the 13 mages using focus stones started working on a complex process that is the creation of the barrier. Upon finding the best location around the mines and the old camp that was under the control of the king's guard, mages started the ritual, and channeling all of their power through Xardas, the 13th mage, barriers started to form. But then something disturbed the structure of the magic, and barrier became a lot bigger and trapped all the mages inside, including everyone that was unlucky enough to be there. The moment of distraction was more than enough for the convicts of the valley. A long-planned revolution took place, and convicts killed majority of King's Guard and became the rulers inside the colony. The king's men that survived were forced to work in the mines, and mages started working for the convicts because they were the only ones that somehow could find a way to get outside the barrier. Now that the barrier was created, there was no way of getting outside. One could go inside the barrier but never come out again. Since the prisoners succeeded in their revolution, King had no choice but to negotiate. Convicts were to receive the necessary food, weapons and supplies, including the women and criminals, and all they had to do was mine the ore and transport it to the king. Inside the barrier 3 camps were formed. The old camp, which was under the control of Gomez and his guards. The new camp that was led by General Lee, a former general to King Robar and his mercenaries. And the swamp camp that was formed far away from the rest. Gomez and the old camp had a direct connection with the kingdom. Being the biggest camp with the richest ore mine, Gomez received the supplies sent to the colony. The new camp, however, had a different plan. General Lee and the water mages collected all the ore from their mine and stashed it in the middle of the camp, where they were planning to use it to destroy the barrier. Last but not the least is the swamp camp. Yiberian, another convict while roaming the swamp, had a vision of the sleeper, and everyone that believed him followed him to that same swamp where they made their camp. They believed that the sleeper was the only one that will set them free. But along all these groups, a tribe of orcs was also captured inside the barrier, and they retreated to the other side of the valley, uninhabited by humans. But that was no mere coincidence. The orcs praying to Beliar came to a temple that belonged to none other than the Sleeper, a creature from the other dimension that found its way into this one, using the orcs to his advantage. The barrier stood there for more than 10 years before the beginning of Gothic 1, when our nameless hero was thrown inside it. But right after the barrier was created, Xardas, the most powerful magician of the Circle of Fire, was finding new ways to understand what happened during the creation of the barrier. Using dark magic of Beliar, more and more he was learning about the Sleeper. Rest of the fire mages did not like that, so before something escalated, he left the camp and retreated to his tower in the heart of the valley, practicing dark magic, protected by golems and demons he created. Everyone thought he was dead, until the nameless hero managed to find him and speak to him. The Valley of Mines, a place surrounded with magic and magical ore, could potentially be a place where two worlds collide. The world of humans and the world of demons were never closer, and one magical disturbance could have opened up a portal between the worlds. Orcs that lived in that place of the region and also inside the Valley of Mines were attracted to that place. Maybe just because of that link between the worlds. As our nameless hero progressed through the game, the valley was struck by a huge tragedy. The biggest mine and colony collapsed, and the entire colony was on the brink of war. Old Camp blamed the new one and so forth. And also that time we learned that the Sleeper is the one behind the disturbance of the barrier, and we needed to find him. No one knows how old is the valley itself, but looking at all the locations, including the old temples and buildings, we can assume that the valley was once a place inhabited by humans and creatures that were lost as the time went by. The huge amount of magical ore is one of the clues, and you can't find that amount anywhere in the kingdom. Maybe even that same ore held the valley intact, keeping the demons from crossing to the realm of humans.
Welcome to the colony.